Woo! Beautiful day to fly. Look at that windsock. So it's going to be just about perfect for takeoff. Look at that sun. Okay. Now I got to make sure my radio will work to turn the runway lights on and off. Doesn't feel like the wind is blowing at all, but my windsock would seem to say otherwise. Hey, Taco here. As you can see, the windsock is about died. This is my 13th or maybe 14th flight. I gotta go back and look. But it's my first time doing a sunset flight, and was really anxious to do this, and really wanted to because I haven't been able to fly for a while. So I went on a sunset flight. The weather this time of year in South Carolina is really kind of bipolar. It does not want to behave. I don't know if that's that white spot up there. I don't know if that's a plane or... So the first view you saw was the GoPro, and I had put the GoPro on the swing arm. I'm heading north away from the airport now. I put the GoPro on the swing arm so I wouldn't get so seasick with it on my head all the time. However, what I've realized is the GoPro on the swing arm is it's not as easily maneuverable as, say, the Insta 360. Once you take off, it's sticking up. So it's like forcing a view of the sky. So I'm not sure I like it. I do like the selfie stick view. Now it's shaking around a good bit because the selfie stick has a built-in accelerometer. It tries to balance itself with respect to the horizon, and if it's bouncing around, it's actually sticking out sort of from under my left leg, straight out kind of where my crotch is. So that's where the stick is actually sticking, under my left leg. So as I move around, it bounces. You see, I finally got the GoPro pointed down instead of straight up at the sky, and what a view. Not as many clouds as I had liked, but wow. I mean, what a gorgeous view. There's a nuclear plant down there on the right on Lake Robinson. So that's just looks even better on video than it did on my when I exported it to the phone. I mean, that just, you don't even need to adjust it in Lightroom. It's just gorgeous. So now I'm flying south from the airport. Just a quick run out past the football stadium and back in. I was anticipating maybe going up a little bit higher, but right about 2,500 feet or so, maybe a little bit more, it started getting hazy, and like there was a nice temperature shift, like a pretty sudden temperature shift. And so I came back down. So yeah, there's another view of now that's actually from the selfie stick, so you can see the difference in the image quality with the GoPro 13 and the Insta, I think this is the X4. So you see the difference in image quality. Now the nice thing about the Insta, I still like the ability to move it around where you want to in editing. So I do like that, but the image quality from the GoPro was just so much nicer. It also has a more, what do you call it? A little bit more zoomed in view. And it's a naturally more zoomed in view, where the Insta is spread out so much farther. But the Insta does give you the opportunity. See, there's the difference. I mean, pretty much the same view from the GoPro. Is just zoomed in so much more and so much more epic. You see, you can even see a plane up there above the sun, leaving a contrail behind. And the two fingers there, that's the way you can kind of judge how far or how much sunlight you have left. I learned that from hiking. So you stick your hand out, and every finger is about 15 minutes. So 4 fingers would be an hour. Any more than that, and you have to take into account the angle the sun is setting at, what time of year. But generally 4 fingers or less one finger width is about 15 minutes. So I'm comparing that to what my watch says. Now, of course, I'm 1,500 feet up, so the sun's going to set a little bit later than my watch would say it would set on the ground. Not very much, but just a couple of minutes. But I had planned to be on the ground. I think sunset was 6:30. I planned to be on the ground by 7 because that's my legal limit. We can fly 30 minutes after sunset, but we have to be on the ground and we have to have strobes. I think we also have to be under the 1,200 feet limit. I think we have to be in Class G. I need to check on that. I wouldn't be higher anyway because it's going to take a little bit to glide down, but I think we have to be under the 1,200 foot limit after sunset for those 30 minutes. So I'm going to have to look that up again. So straight under me, right out in front, there's a new solar farm they built. That's that kind of gray square to the left at the bottom. And then the road intersects with another, with the bypass, and right across that is a place called Seeger's Mill Pond. There's no mill there anymore. Back 100 years ago, it was a mill pond area. So now you see the sun's below that little strip of clouds. Yeah, there you go. Off to the bottom left corner, you see there's a road and like a T intersection, and there's a little bit of water back there. That's a mill pond. Supposedly there's some kind of, at one point there was some kind of buried treasure or money or something like valuables out there somewhere, but I don't remember the story. One of my former co-workers told me about a buried treasure at Seeger's Mill Pond. Just an amazing view. I was hoping for more clouds because I wanted it like, those pink, big pink puffy clouds all across the sky. Not, kind of like they look now. Just a lot more of them. I didn't want thunderclouds. But pink puffy clouds would work fine. Oh, and there's a good view of the mill pond. You see the cars driving to the left. And that watery area right across the street from that T intersection. That's a good view from the Insta camera. A couple of cell towers down there. When I get more comfortable being low, I want to get close to a cell tower, but not too close because large birds, vultures and the like to get on top of those cell towers. So I don't want to piss off a vulture and have them come after me. Taking a vulture to the face at 25 miles an hour wouldn't be very much fun for me or the vulture. Now I'm just going to stay over the woods for the most part and scooch on over to the stadium. My goals for this flight were basically just to get in a quick sunset flight and test my new series of cameras out. I don't know what happened to my helmet cam video. I do have a camera on my helmet, but I'm not sure. And I've posted a few shorts to YouTube and Instagram from the helmet cam, but I don't know what happened to the video. I think I deleted it. I have 12 terabytes of space on my new computer, and but as soon as I get, okay, I think I've got enough out of this video, I'll push delete. So I don't keep a lot of stuff around after I've made one of these Adobe Premiere YouTube videos. I'm using Adobe as my editor. I've used a couple different ones. I cannot get the hang of DaVinci Resolve. I know it's free, and Adobe's like $10 a month or $20 a month for a couple of different things, but I've used it for so long, I'm just happy with it. Oscillating a little bit there. You see the horizon on the right-hand side of the screen kind of going up and down. I'm oscillating a little bit. On the other video, you hear me say, hands up, hands up. This particular wing is an A wing or a student wing for beginners, and if you start getting in oscillations, as long as you remember to put your hands up and stop screwing around with the wing, it will eventually settle down on its own. So you don't have to do any active piloting to get rid of oscillations. That's what I like about this wing. It's just a big, slow, high lift wing, so I can get up pretty quick once I take off. Takeoffs are the harder part. With a student wing, they don't want to come up and inflate as readily, it seems. So I let out about an inch of trimmers. And there you see the Insta 360 view again. I'm trying to scooch over. I want to get close to the edge of that field as I can. I don't want to be directly over the houses. I want to be over the field, but then as I approach the field, I see there's cows. So I don't want to be directly over the cows either. Now I'm at 800-900 feet, but I still don't want to scare the cows. You want to stay away from wildlife and if you can, and away from farm animals. You don't want to spook a cow or a horse and have it run into a fence. So my goal was to get as close to the houses as I could without being directly over them, and yet get get as far away from the cows as I could. The local high school football stadium looks really nice in this sunset view. Now the field down there, it looks like there might be a couple of Carolina bays. But then, of course, the big brown one is that center post well thing. Ooh, that's a beautiful view of that cloud. It actually rained about 3 hours after I landed, and this was like the only close cloud in the sky. It sort of looks like a brain right there, with the brain stem coming out the back. Yeah, it actually rained like 3 or 4 hours later. It was 9, 10 or so at night. It was actually raining. So I thought that was kind of funny. So there was no rain in the forecast. That cloud is kind of puffing up a little bit. I was not going to go anywhere near that thing. So here's my Insta view again. Kind of shaking and rattling and rolling. Oscillating a little bit, but it wasn't anything too scary. Yeah, you see the other Insta camera on top of my helmet. And I posted a few videos, but unfortunately, whatever happened, I've deleted those. I've got enough out of them as it is. See my Iris Infinity, the blue handle next to my right leg down there. It says Iris in blue, and there's a handle. That's my reserve. So if something totally screws up, let's say the glider rips in half. I screw something up and tear it up, or I take a bad collapse and it won't reinflate. Basically anything bad happens with the wing, I can reach down, grab that blue handle, and there's basically a parachute in there, which is kind of neat. It's almost time to get it repacked. You have to repack them every 6 months, so I'll send it off and I'll get it repacked. So they'll pull it out the thing, they'll inspect it, and they'll repack it for me. Yeah, just beautiful pink view. Again, you see a little bumpiness from the not sure if that's from my piloting. It smoothed out really nice when I started to turn. I'm not sure if that's from the swing arm or my piloting. I'm not sure. The only other thing I don't like about the new camera position. Ooh, that's a good view of the nuclear plant straight ahead. Been watching a lot of Chernobyl on YouTube, both the HBO movie and a lot of people explaining nuclear fusion and how and why the Chernobyl reactor blew up. So I've been watching a lot of that. If you're my age, you'll remember Chernobyl blowing up in 1986, I think, 86 or 88. You remember the Chernobyl plant and how big a deal it was. And that's actually a gorgeous view from the Insta 360 there, with the sun behind it lighting up the land out in front of me. It's actually a really nice view. As the sun fades, or as the sun sets and it gets a little bit darker, the GoPro starts to get grainy, and actually the Insta X4 kind of shines in that dim light over the GoPro. But like I was saying, the only thing I don't like is I've got a microphone adapter for both the Insta 360 X3 and the X4. I don't have one for the GoPro, but I do have one for both the Insta cameras. But with one on my helmet and one on the selfie stick, it's hard to get the audio into there. And I haven't had great luck with that either. The thing I'm using to do this voiceover is actually a Tascam DR05X digital recorder. It runs off a couple of AA batteries. It's about the same size as like an iPhone 13, but a little bit skinnier and a little bit thicker. So I think I think I'm just gonna plug my microphone cable adapter into that and just let the Tascam hold all my audio. It's a really good little unit. It's got adjustable mic inputs, adjustable mic gain. It's actually got 2 stereo microphones on the outside, but once you plug in an external adapter, that takes over. So I actually think I'm going to try to use that in the future, because it'll fit on my chest pouch and it won't require a whole lot of external wiring and clips and everything. I can plug it all up before I even take off instead of having to worry about it in flight. So I actually think I'm going to use that and see how my yeah, you can see me trying to talk to the GoPro on the video, but when I played it back, all you can hear is that engine buzzing and somebody's screaming in the background, so it doesn't really work that well. The Insta 360 worked okay on the swing arm with the external audio, but I had to wait until I took off, and then I had to pull this cable out of my pocket and plug it in and rearrange the connections to the aviation radio, and about every other time I would mess with it, when I plugged the radio comms back in, the microphone wouldn't work. There's a little adapter that changes the 4-pin connection on the microphone to my helmet to the 3-point connection of the ICOM radio. There's a little adapter about 1.5 inches long. And if it pops off and goes on the wrong cable, then the microphone doesn't work, and I can't make calls on my radio. So that's happened to me like twice. So I'm coming into land with no comms. So I don't like that. So I'm just going to try the Tascam radio. Okay, so there's the nuclear plant again off to the left. Yeah, and this is the GoPro view again, and you can see things are getting hazy. It's starting to get, the sun's starting to set. Everything's kind of going gray. I was initially going to head over to the Neptune Island and recreation area that's lit up down there on the bottom of the screen. But the wind was blowing from that direction, and the sun is now set, and I wasn't sure if I could get over there, swing around the park, outside where people would be, and then get back to the airport and have enough light and enough time to stay legal. So yeah, I didn't do it. I was also trying to turn my airport lights on with the radio, and I was surprised how close I needed to be to the airport. I remember doing that before in the helicopter and in fixed-wing airplanes, and you can be a pretty good distance away and turn the airport runway lights on by clicking your radio in a certain way. Well, it wasn't working for me in the paramotor, and you can't see it there really well, but the antenna is right under my fuel tank to the radio. So I think the metal of the cage might mess with it as far as being able to talk very far. I might have to rearrange the antenna, put it somewhere else. Problem is, there's not a whole lot of places to put it that doesn't put it in risk of getting in the prop, or doesn't get it too close to the radio itself, which was causing the RF problem in the first place. So now I'm up about 2,000 feet. As you can see, the sun is not quite set yet. I actually get back towards the airport before the sun officially goes below the horizon. So again, yeah, there's that gorgeous cloud view from the GoPro. Swinging back around, headed towards the airport. And here in a minute, I'm going to put the selfie stick away. That's another thing with the selfie stick. It's the daggone stick gets in the way of all the great photographs. So, although I like it, I'm probably not going to use it as much. I think next time I'll just put the X4 on my helmet, and then the GoPro on the swing arm, and just leave it at that. I don't need, there's no reason to have 3 cameras. I do eventually want to try one on the wing itself. I have a magnetic mount, and I've seen a lot of people use them, and it gives you a great viewpoint from the wing, but I'm not there yet. One thing I do want to do, and you'll see why here in a minute when I come in for a landing. I did a complete swing around, and the sun's going down behind me, and I'm slowly coming back down towards the airport. So the airport's straight out in front of me. And one thing I need to work on is landings, and I've had a couple of comments from YouTube people saying, hey, look, here's what you need to do. You need to, blah, blah, blah. You're flaring too early. You're doing this, you're doing that. So my next outing is going to be all about landings. So no taking off and trying to fly to 10,000 feet, no swinging around the football stadium. I got to get these landings down so I'm on my feet every time. And for the last couple of days, I've been watching a lot of basically how-to landing videos on YouTube, and I see where I'm going wrong. I'm coming in and I'm putting pressure on the way, so pulling just a little bit of brake too far off the ground and rounding out early. And then when I start to sink again and go to flare, in other words, pull my brakes all the way down under my butt, when I go to flare again, or when I go to flare for the final time, the wing is already too slow. So I'm touching down a little bit harder and a little bit faster than I should, which causes my feet to collapse under me and I kind of slide into home base. The other thing is I've got my feet together, like side by side, and when they go to touch the ground, my brain can't tell which foot needs to go forward faster. You stick one foot out in front of you and one foot kind of underneath you. When you hit the ground, that front foot's like, I don't have anywhere to go, so that back foot says, oh, let me step forward to keep you from falling on your face. So that's what I need to do. Practice foot positioning and when to pull the brakes to flare and slow down. To use all the energy that's in the wing to put that wing behind you and pull you to a stop. So that's what I need to work on. So next trip's going to be all about, hey, let's take off, get just far enough, get just high enough so I can swing back around safely without crashing into the trees if the engine quits. Look at the sun coming off that lake, or reflecting off that lake. The clouds in the lake look better than the clouds in the sky. That's kind of funny. Yep, so it's time to put the selfie stick away. The rest of the video from here on out is going to be from the GoPro. So there's the airport in front of me. Yeah, so what I'll do next time is just take off, swing back around real quick, and then come in from maybe 500 feet and try to land. And if I land decently enough, I can come back out, I can do it like a touch and go. If I don't land decently enough, well, I'll slide to a landing into home base, and then I take everything off, reset the wing, and then take off again. So it'll be a lot more work if I screw the landing up. So that's my thing. I want to try at least 3 landings in a row at the airfield. Now, I was looking at flying Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, and Tuesday morning. However, the weather has decided to work against me. Right now, it's, of course, in the South, like everywhere, we're transitioning from winter to summer. Excuse me. From fall to winter. And, well, just like when we went from winter to summer, you get a lot of gusty winds. So, the skies might be clear, but, you're 6 miles an hour gusting to 15. And you get maybe a little bit of window in the morning or a little bit of window in the evening, but a lot of times even that is not really good to fly. I haven't seen the nice dark blue or dark green on gaggle in weeks. The one that says conditions are perfect. I'm getting a lot of that light blue or light blue gray that's like, yeah, you could try it. And then a good bit of the light orange, which is on gaggle. The light orange is, yeah, you probably should just stay home. I haven't seen any of the red, though. They do have like a red that's like, yeah, if you try to take off, you're going to die. But I haven't seen any red lately, but I have been seeing a lot of the orange and the light, like blue-gray color. So basically, it's kind of crappy. Now, in this case, the wind, you see, I'm farther to the west of the runway than I should be. The wind is coming from the east, pushing me to the left. And at this point, you can see I'm coming down to the runway, but I'm not pointed at it. That's why I'm kind of crabbing to the right so I can get down on the runway. So I'm not pointed at the runway. I'm pointing into the wind, really. So this is kind of the angle I'll come down and land on the runway at. So right now I'm trying to get back over the runway instead of over the neighborhood to the left of the runway.
I hate messing with the trims in flight. Okay, got my brake.
Making my radio calls.
Okay, I'm gonna try to land right by the car.
Found out one of my problems. Usually I get to the airport and then immediately, like, I have to go to the bathroom like 2 or 3 times. And I figured out one of my problems is I'm sort of becoming lactose intolerant, I guess, as I get older. I used to drink a ton of milk, but I'm getting like lactose intolerant. And if I drink milk at night when I get to the airport the next morning, woo boy, watch out. I think a little bit is also sort of like pilot nerves. I do the same thing when I go hiking, when I get ready to meet up with my friends. Like the first thing I have to do before we meet in the parking lot to get set up is I got to run by the Home Depot or the Lowe's on the way and go to the bathroom. And so hopefully that's maybe all that is, and it'll settle down sooner or later. Get those nervous poops. TMI, I know. But hey, it's part of the experience. So now I'm pretty happy with my glide scope. I didn't have to change a whole lot. Once I got to about here, I'm like, yeah, I'm happy. Unfortunately, the wind has pretty much died down to nothing. It was kind of hard for me to see the windsock, but I saw it on the way down. As I get close, now had the windsock been pointed like away from me or some kind of crazy angle that I couldn't adjust to, what I would have had to do is like power up and go around. But as I get closer to the ground, I can see the windsock over there on the top of my car, and it's just kind of dangling. Maybe moving a little bit, but I mean less than a mile an hour probably. So they all look like brown. They all look like brown patches, but yeah, there's a slightly darker, like small round patch, sort of parallel or perpendicular where my car is that I'm aiming for. Basically, so if I land where I plan to, I'm going to just have to walk directly over to the car to the right. But so you can see I'm over the main runway. But then I'm going to angle it in a little bit because the wind's coming from my right. So it's by the time I get turned into the wind, it's going to be I'm going to be landing at an angle across the grass strip. And I actually landed it a little bit long. I'm out of the seat, so what's happened is the GoPro's been pushed down. So it's almost like I'm looking down, but it's the GoPro being pushed towards the ground. And here I come. And should have been pulling more brake right there, and well, at least that didn't hurt anything. I did come in pretty slow when my feet touched the ground. I was going pretty slow. I just didn't run. Now here's the world's fastest wing pack. Even Tucker Gott and Trevor Steele couldn't pack a wing this fast. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, and looking forward to next flight. Remember, don't go splat. That's the main goal. Rule 1, don't go splat.